here on our little table altar thing happening here, these are all elements that were in the ceremony that we did the other day for those of you who were here with us. And so what we did in that ceremony was we lit 108 lanterns. So in cosmology, there are 108 steps through the astral planes, 108 steps through a journey to completion. And so we lit 108 lanterns, one lantern to light every step of the pathway from the beginning to the end of a transition. And so these lanterns had 9 different symbols from my language on them. And so here tonight around the room, we have 9 of these lanterns, one for each one of those elements. And each one of those symbols represents a different aspect of the healing pathway that helps us transition through this darkening phase. In addition to that, we have the gifts of the wise men. And traditionally speaking, it is believed that the 3 magi brought 3 gifts for the Christ child and his mother at Christmas. And a lot of people think that that's why we celebrate Christmas with giving gifts to one another, or that it's because God gave us the gift of Christ himself, and so we replicate that by giving gifts to the people around us. Well, skipping all of that and just going straight to what the gifts were, in all of the rhymes, it says that the gifts were myrrh, frankincense, and gold. But scholars believe that that is probably inaccurate. And definitely the reasons that most religions teach that those were the gifts are likely also inaccurate. So frankincense and myrrh are common gifts for royalty or upperclassmen. But frankincense, so the white one over here, frankincense, is used as an incense for opening perception. So meditative practices, a lot of monks, they will burn frankincense because the scent of frankincense triggers the chemistry in the brain in a way that allows you to open a perception and to go into a restfulness for productive meditation. So frankincense was more about the enlightening of the experience, which is why it would have been given as a gift, that someone have a life where they are wise, perceptive, and that they have the space in order to gain enough perception to rule appropriately, whether it's ruling in your life or ruling a realm. One of the other ones is myrrh, so it's this one here. And myrrh is used as a painkiller. And most Catholics will teach you that myrrh is given to Mother Mary because she just gave birth to a child and she needs it as a painkiller post-birthing. However, any scholar who has looked at a calendar recognizes that the Magi did not arrive on the night that Christ was born. And so by the time the Magi arrived with these gifts, she would have had 2 years to recover from the birthing, or so, 2.5 years. The myrrh wasn't for her pain, it was for his, in recognition of the sacrifice that he would be making, because the Magi were very wise and they were very aware of prophecies. And so they knew who the child was who came. They knew what he came to do and they knew what he was going to go through because that's what the prophecies spoke about. And so they brought the painkiller for him for what he was going to endure to prepare him. The third gift that is usually taught is gold. And so in especially the Catholic tradition, it is taught that the child was given gold as a recognition that he was royalty, and because people give gold freely, I guess. Anyway, most scholars believe that gold was not literal, And gold was actually that gold over there, which at the time was even more valuable than metallic gold. One of the teachings from the other night was that gold itself is weak. It's useless. Something made of pure gold is so weak it will not hold its own form. And so gold has to be alloyed with something else. That's why we get the different carats, because they're different purities. And so gold on its own is so weak that it is useless. It needs to have an alloy. It needs to have something else combined with it in order for it to have any value. And so we close the gold because most of the scholars don't actually think that gold was gold. They thought that gold was the most valuable substance in the world at the time, which is sandalwood. Sandalwood is one of the sacred trees. It's one of the nemeton trees. And the nemeton represents the thing that holds the worlds and the realms together. The thing that holds the underworld, the upper world of the angels, and this realm in communion, in communication, which as equally fully Christ, well, the Christ child would have been fully human and fully divine, which would make him one of the nemetons. He was someone who crossed between the realms and held one foot in either world and brought the worlds together, which is what sandalwood does. And so sandalwood is believed to actually be the third gift of the wise men. And sandalwood resin is gold colored. And at the time was way more valuable than metallic gold. So, this is some of the backgrounds of what we were exploring the other day in our gifts and in our ceremony, and some of the foundation of what the Christmas season is actually about. The gifts of the Magi, which is why we do the gifting part of Christmas, are because we are recognizing the pain and the sacrifices that people are making in their lives. And we are giving them what they need in order to get through it. And if that means that we give them something that makes them smile, brings them joy, or makes their life easier, that's the myrrh. We give them the thing that relieves pain. If we are giving them something that brightens their way or opens a pathway for them to take themselves to the next level, whether that means in delight by giving a child a video game, or that means a tool, or whatever that looks like for someone. If you're giving something that brings delight, enlightenment, or a brighter path, that is the frankincense. And if you are giving something that is truly from the heart, that comes from how intimately you know someone, that if someone else saw the gift, they may not even recognize why you're giving it to that person. That is the sandalwood, the gold. It's the nugget of truth that comes from that intimate connection and that process that we go through to get to the bottom of something and the heart of something. You can only give a gift of gold to someone if you have actually taken the time to think through what their experience is and what it means to them. The most powerful gifts that we give to someone else usually are things that they would not expect to come from us, because either it goes against what they know about us, or because they didn't know we knew that about them. Those are the moments when that person feels seen and valued. That's the gold gift. So whether you're looking at that as the literal wrapped beneath the tree gifts that you're giving to people in the season, or the gift that you are to people, or however you want to look at it, the second challenge, or from this talk, is to look at the ways that you're interacting with people, and the things that you're offering to people in who you are and what you give to them. And try and figure out, is it a gift of myrrh, a gift of frankincense, or a gift of gold? What are you offering to people, and what are you offering into the world? The next layer of that challenge, your homework, I suppose, is to set yourself up for success. Look at next year. So the 12 days of Christmas, everybody listens to that song and they think it's like a countdown to Christmas Eve. The 12 days of Christmas start in what the West celebrates as Christmas Day, which is December 25th, and go until what the East celebrates as Christmas Day, which is January 6th. Those of you who were at the Foundations of Faith talk heard about that. And then the next one will go into it more. December 25th isn't Christ's birthday. Like, historically speaking, that is known, just nobody talks about it. December 25th was Constantine's birthday. It was a political maneuver for the emperor at the time to gain the favor of the people who were uprising against Rome, to equate himself with the Christ. And so he decided, we're going to celebrate Christ's birthday on my birthday. And subconsciously, that will equate my importance with his importance. And then all of a sudden, the uprising got really quiet, and it worked. And what is it? 1,684 years later, we are still celebrating it on December 25th. So this is the 1,684th anniversary of the day we started celebrating Christmas, which is not Christ's birthday at all. And so the very first Christmas was in 336 AD. 336 years after Christ died, we started celebrating this thing called Christmas, which is actually about a Roman emperor's birthday and was a political maneuver. The reason in the Orthodox tradition and in the East, Christmas is celebrated on January 6th is because when scholars looked at the astrological configurations that would have led the Magi at the time in the world, using all of their charts and all of their wise and witchy ways, it works out that the Magi would have landed January 6th. And there was, I cannot tell you where it was, but there was some record that I want to say it was from Herod's court when the Magi went and met with Herod, which is in the Bible, but I cannot tell you with confidence that that is actually what it was. Anyway, there was some record kept that said that these teachers from the East showed up on this day, and it was January 6th that they arrived. And so in the Orthodox tradition, we celebrate January 6th. So from December 25th to January 6th, so from the Western Christmas to the Eastern Christmas, there's your 12 days of Christmas. And so that is the challenge. Over the 12 days of Christmas, which goes from Christmas Day until January 6th, to celebrate yourself as the three gifts. So each one of those 12 days, and they don't need to be equal dispersion, but each one of those 12 days, recognize and celebrate yourself as a gift of frankincense, a gift of myrrh, or a gift of gold. Whether that means recognizing something in that day that you do that is a gift of that type, or whether that means going through your track record and history and celebrating a little win that you forgot to give yourself credit for throughout the year, or that means digging real deep and finding a personality, quirk, or quality that deserves to be celebrated that day. That's the challenge. For the 12 days of Christmas, find a gift of frankincense, a gift of myrrh, and a gift of gold on those days to celebrate yourself. Those are my challenges for Christmas.